Corvega Cup Series qualifying for the Corvega All-Star Race. Getting ready for probably the most unique qualifying format you'll see. 3 laps and a 4-tire pit stop. Supposed to be a graphic here. We'll put that up in a second. There it is. Lap 1, basically go as fast as you can. Lap 2, 4-tire pit stop, and then lap 3 is the out lap from pit road and back around. First car for this qualifying session will be the series champion, Jay Fluke, in the number 42 for Kirby Amons Racing. Jay has a win in Charlotte, in fact his first career win coming here last season. And won the season finale at Homestead, which gave him the championship, as he was the highest finishing of the championship for last season in number 42. So 2 career wins. And, so far though, he has only had 3 top 16 finishes this season. Team has kind of struggled starting out, but looks to get back into the swing of things here. Just like we saw in the showdown earlier qualifying session, we'll probably see a lot of these guys kind of go a little high in the middle toward the exit of the corners. And you see there the first lap, 29.095 for Fluke. So here's the tricky part. They have to make a 4-tire pit stop, and this is where pit entry will be key. Remember, these guys do not have a pit road speed limit during this pit stop. And you see right there, gets out of shape and around he goes. First car out of the gate. But he gathers it up. And will he stop on time? He does. You see, these guys have to make a 4-tire pit stop. They have to come to a complete stop in the box before their team can go to work on the car. And again, no pit entry, pit road speed, nor on the pit exit. So get in and get out as fast as you can, and preferably without making a mistake like Fluke did, getting in the pit road and going for a loop. 14.8 on that pit stop here, so we'll see how that stacks up as we go along. Lap 2 at 37.737 with the spin as he tried to get to pit road. See for lap 3, we'll put the 42. Loose off of turn 4, 55.280 for a total time of 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Let's take a look at that pit entry one more time. Yeah, it looks, you can tell he was kind of slow enough to get ready for it, and I think he was just trying to get a wider arc down from the banking, but he turned it in way too early there. I think the key is down here toward these little markers right there on the apron where the white line stops. I think really that's where your best pit entry is going to be. So he turned way too early. That transition from the banking to the apron upset the car, and it just got him out of shape and it turned him around. We saw a lot of this in this morning's practice session, where cars were trying to get on and off pit road in anticipation for this. And kind of makes you wonder now whether we'll see that for the rest of qualifying. Kirby Amons, the team car to Jay Fluke, is the next car to go out. One car is the defending winner of the Chicagoland race last season. And that is his qualifying eligibility for this race. Yeah, this team is did kind of the opposite of Jay Fluke, where they started strong early in the season, but have had a lot of struggles recently. Whereas Jay Fluke has kind of been on the improvement in recent weeks. This is Eamon's second career All-Star race. His first start in the All-Star race, 2013B, when he drove the 42 at that time. Really high up there in 1 and 2. This is going to be a 29-second lap for him as well. 29.083 for lap 1. And now for the pit entry. This is where it's going to get really interesting. Starts up high, but you see how he let out, and see that, yeah, that right there, that's what you want to do. You want to come in where that white line stops. See how he gets into the pit box here. Perfect stop for the one of Eamon's. Bit of a slow stop there, 14.9, a little slower than Jay Fluke's stop was. But without that spin, that first, or rather second lap will be a 3.39, and lap 3 will likely be about the same. Yeah, he came out a little higher up there in 1 and 2, so that might help him build up the momentum trying to get back around here to complete that first lap. Lap 3 for Eamon's, 55.052. Total time, 1 minute, 58 seconds. That is the fastest car so far. Of the two that have qualified. For him, unlike Team Jay Fluke, uneventful pit road. There's your lineup so far. So the number 1 is first, fastest for now. Cindy Warner in the number 7, going to be the next car to go out. And no sponsor on this car. They were not sure if they were going to put the effort for the All-Star race together, because they have had so much trouble just making races this season. Cindy has only qualified for 3 of the 12 starts this season. Those coming in Atlanta, Las Vegas, and Texas. Oh no, they got down there way off in turn 1. Hit the apron. It's kind of like what we saw Mary Capizzello and Ashley Mendez do in the Showdown qualifying. So Warner's first lap, a 29.011, and despite hitting the apron at 1 and 2 last time, that is fastest so far for the first lap. Warner is the inaugural All-Star Race winner, the first season we had this event, and this would be her 5th appearance, because the All-Star winners are eligible every season. A pretty good entry to pit road right there, and now come to a stop in the pit box. Remember, these guys have got to change 4 tires. Don't necessarily have to take fuel. They can if they so choose. It's interesting. You can actually start this qualifying session with just enough fuel to make it the full way, which helps the car be a little bit faster, but a little bit looser as well, due to the lack of weight. But if you do that, you have to fill the car up. Whereas if you start with a full tank of fuel, you do not have to take fuel. So we'll see how that strategy plays out throughout this qualifying session. Cindy Warner's third lap of 55.202 puts her first fastest with a time of 1 minute 56 seconds. Yeah, most of that speed there was all made up on the racetrack. Her pit stop time was 15.4, which is the slowest pit stop of the three so far. Up next is Nick Dilbeck in the number 92 for Indy Racing. In the Reese's Pieces Big Cup on the car this week. It's a cool paint scheme that they got here for this race. And they're expected to run it a couple more times later this season. Dilbeck is the previous season's Daytona 500 winner in that rain-shortened race that was ended 127 laps on the board. He won the pole at Phoenix earlier this season, but finished 17th. His best finish of the season coming at Auto Club, where he finished in the 6th position. And this would be his second All-Star appearance after last season. First lap was by far the fastest there at 28.718. Good lap time for them. See how the pit entry is. See, he kind of kept it a little bit lower down here, 3 and 4 this time, right there on the apron. Perfect entry so far. Could be a hot stop getting in, and will slide it through the box. So now he has to back up before they can work on the car, which he does. That's going to cost him a lot of time, though, I think, having to back that car up like he did. Let's see how that plays out for him. That was a 14.3 second pit stop, so if he didn't slide it through, that would have been the fastest pit stop of the session so far. Pretty decent exit right there. He went up to the wall there. See how that helps him, if it does. Lap 2 at 32.587, trying to get on. So, see how that. Whoa! Around he goes as he comes back to the line. 57.594 as he crosses the line sideways. That will be, despite that, that'll be third fastest for the 92 with a lap time of 1 minute 58. And see, he'll take that car back behind the. So here's his pit entry. Yeah, I mean, getting on the pit road was perfect. Just maybe a little bit too fast here, trying to get to the pit box. And just slides it right through. And remember, you have to stop completely in the box before they can start working on the car. Come out the right side there, and that's a pretty good entry. It's like he just, I don't know, maybe just didn't get it quite slowed down enough to get it stopped on the dirt road. And it is worth noting that pit road is rather bumpy down there where that pit box is. And maybe that could play a role with maybe a wheel hop or something like that. And then coming off of turn 4, the car just gets out from under him. A little loose coming off the corner. Skips across the quarter-mile track there and crosses the line. He did a whale of a job of keeping this thing out of the wall, because any other time we've seen somebody spin out here on the front straightaway, it's been an impact into the wall right there. Up next, Brennan Wolkowitz in the number 24. Wolkowitz Motorsports is the eligibility for this race, two-time winner last season, Bristol and Dover. And like Cindy Warner, this is his 5th All-Star appearance. So far does not have a win this season, but he has finished 4th, coming at the Auto Club Speedway earlier this season, and is currently 10th in the point standings. Get entry down there in the turn 1 and 2 this time. We'll see where that stacks up the first lap. Just like we've seen so many drivers do, especially in the showdown qualifying, is they're toward the exit of the corner, just drifting up high off the corner. The 28.5 is the first lap for that team. And that is our fastest first lap so far. So let's see how the entry to pit road is. Here he's off the gas there. Tight entry, just like Bill Beck had on his pit stop. Let's see where it ends up. A little close to the wall there. That could have been disastrous getting into the pit box, but gets it stopped. Just change the left side tires. You notice no fuel on the car, so they're going to be one of the teams that started with a full tank. 15.3 for the pit stop. That is the second slowest pit stop of the cars that have qualified so far. We'll see if that hurts him for the overall lap time. I think the biggest thing here, the first lap is going to be the best lap out of anybody by far. As we get through this qualifying session, you see 54.65 there for lap 3, so his overall time 1 minute 56.9, and that is the fastest car so far in this qualifying session. But yes, if you really your biggest speed is going to come on that first lap. So if you get a really good first lap, manage to get on and off the pit road pretty easily, it shouldn't really matter. This was him getting into his pit box. We mentioned he got pretty close to the wall right there. I don't know how he didn't hit it. I don't even know if he could have put a piece of paper between him and the wall. He got so close to it. And that's what we were talking about too. He probably hit some of those bumps down there on the transition between the pit boxes and the pit lane itself, and kind of got him out of shape under braking. Next car to go out is Valerie Cavanilla in the number 10 for Cavanilla Haas Racing. Valerie has one win coming last season at Rimouski Super Speedway, where she led 30 laps and just barely beat Nate Alcott to the line in a photo finish. In fact, that is the closest finish in Rimouski Speedway history out of all the league races that have taken place there. But this season, this team has struggled. 31st in points, and she does have a best finish of 7th, both of those coming 2 times this season, both of those coming at April and at Talladega, the 2 restrictor plate tracks that we've been to most recently. Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, they struggles last season too, until that win at Rimouski where they started running a little bit better. This season they just have not been able to put the finishes together. And so far the points results show for it. Hoping to turn it around here this week with the Charlotte races. First lap of 28.6. Entry to pit road, and under braking goes around, trying to get on the pit road just like Jay Fluke. And that just goes to show how hard it is to get on the pit road here, because you got to do it as fast as you can to get the best qualifying lap that you can. Because remember, the overall time of all 3 laps is what determines your starting position. Be interesting to find out what happened there, because she had probably one of the slower entries in general to pit road, a little bit more of a cautious approach, and I almost wonder maybe turning the wheel too fast, maybe sent that car around. And the braking under speed is pretty sensitive when you jerk the wheel to the left to get on the pit road, so maybe that will play a little bit of a role. So lap number 3 for Cabanilla looks to be a 55.4. Her time so far, 2 minutes and 2 seconds. That is slowest of the cars that have made an attempt at this point, by 6/100ths of a second, or 6/10ths of a second slower than Jay Fluke. You see right here, I mean, this is a pretty late turn down into pit road too. It's almost like maybe she didn't turn quite enough, or quite soon enough, and kind of a last minute decision to get on the pit road is almost what it seems like there. Yeah, I mean, you really want to start turning in right there at that Charlotte banner on the wall is where you really want to start that arc in the pit road, so it was really late compared to everybody else's attempt at this point. Next car on track is the 28 of Ben Malik, a JBL Audio Ford for Indy Racing. He has eligibility by winning this season at Phoenix. Also had a couple of wins there. He's got 4 career wins, his others coming at Daytona back 2 seasons ago, Martinsville and Michigan last season. Currently 7th in the point standings for this season. This is a team that I think has a really good shot at maybe getting a couple more wins this season. They've been really strong, particularly at the short tracks, which Phoenix is a short track where he won earlier this season, so wouldn't be all surprised if that gets him a few more wins. So lap 1 there at 28.6. Pretty spot on pit road entry there. Yeah, that's about as wide as you want to go. Oh, he hits the wall, slides past the pit box, and now has to back up. Like, backed up a little too far there too, so that's going to be a disastrous pit stop here. So they'll go to work changing 4 tires. Yeah. That pit stop's going to be a 15.1. So not the slowest pit stop, definitely not the fastest either. So that is going to be a disastrous time. And his lap 2 was the best lap 2 we've seen out of anybody so far, but with him sliding through the pit box and having trouble getting back to it It's going to really kill his third lap. And the third lap here is going to be the one that tanks his lap time. Just like that. Oh, that didn't help either. He just hit the apron down there in the middle of 3 and 4, just like Mary Capizello did there in the showdown qualifying earlier. And 67, 1 minute 7 there for lap 3 puts him at 2 minutes and 7 seconds for his overall time, his slowest lap, or the slowest lap of anybody so far in this session. Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much a perfect pit entry, but when he gets down here kind of closer to where the pit boxes are, he starts hitting those bumps, and under hard braking, that can cause wheel hop like we've seen, or like you would normally see at a road course. And it looks like maybe that might have been what happened there. He kind of wheel hopped it and turned him into the pit wall there. And then, of course, he slid 2 or 3 pit boxes further than he needed to. Had a little trouble getting it back at reverse, and then had a little bit of trouble getting it stopped, so he had to pull forward again. And here it is at speed. And again, you're trying to get the pit road as quickly as possible, and sometimes when you're under that pressure of trying to get on there, it can be a little tricky. So we've had 3 drivers have issues. The first car that went out, Jay Fluke, spun getting on the pit road. And there you see, that's where he hit the apron there and drifted up the racetrack coming to the checkered flag, so that killed a little bit of momentum as well. But Jay Fluke his spin getting on the pit road to Valerie Cabanella. And Ben Malik having his issues. And Nick Billbeck also, so make that 4 drivers that have had problems at some point during their qualifying run. All but Billbeck down at the bottom of the list. Well, Billbeck had his issues there coming to the checkered flag, so he had all of his time pretty much right where it needed to be to still salvage a top 5. John Williams in the 88 Baja Blast Mountain Dew Chevrolet for Wolkowitz Motorsports. Williams with his most recent win coming at Kansas. And he had 5 wins last season, but so far no wins this season. But he has had some pretty good finishes so far this season. Johnny is the career Cup win leader with 10 and is tied with Ben Smith with 10 wins apiece between them. His first lap there at 28.5 for the gas pretty early here, getting on the pit road. Pretty good entry there, gasses it back up. Can he get it stopped in the box on time? He does, and they'll be able to go work on that car. Looks like they're putting fuel in, so it looks like he was one of the drivers that had the lighter fuel load starting out, so he'll have to put the fuel in the car for the second half of for his lap. Pretty decent pit time there, 15.1 seconds. And of the drivers that have qualified so far, a little bit of a lower line here on the 3rd lap. Trying to take the shortest distance around, but we've seen so many others do, kind of drifts up in turn 3 and 4. I think this is still going to be a pretty good 3rd lap for him, though. 55.186, that will put him on the pole. So he will be fastest so far with a 1 minute 55.76. And like we said earlier, that first lap is really, if you don't have any mistakes, that first lap is really going to help you out, because he had the fastest first lap out of everybody beating his teammate Brendan Wolkowitz in the 24. Of course, Wolkowitz had the provisional pole there up until Johnny's time. Saw his pit entry there, a little out of shape, but he made it work. Up next is the only Rookie of the Year candidate that is in the field, and that is because Maria Jacoby won the Talladega race a couple of races ago for her first career win and an upset finish with that crazy finish that we had at Talladega. So her first career win comes there. Despite that win, she is 27th in points. So with the way that the championship format works, she has to remain inside the top 30 to be eligible for the championship playoffs at the end of the season. So she is kind of right there on the cusp of that in 27th. But currently leads the Rookie of the Year points in a very tight battle with teammates Leah Reed and Ashley Mendez. And her first lap at 28.73 or 7.93 for the number 6 car. So got that apron a little bit getting down there, but managed to hold on to it, and pretty good entry so far. She get it stopped? No, slides it through the pit box, and not quite reversed there. There we go. And just like Ben Malik, slides it a little too far back, trying to get stopped in the box. Just goes to show that it is hard for these guys to get not only on pit road, but to get these cars stopped. She probably slid 50, 60 feet before that thing came to a complete stop. 15.5 on the pit stop. That is one of the slower pit stops we've seen. In fact, that is the slowest stop so far. Does look like she might have got a pretty good outlap here. That's going to be interesting to see where she ends up with this lap time after the slide through the pit box. Turn 4. Across the line, 1 minute 6, puts her at a 2 minute 7 lap average with a 8th place run there for the 6. That is second slowest so far of the cars that have gone. And it'll be interesting to see how that entry into the pit box. She drove through quite a few pit boxes trying to get woed up there, so it'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays into it. And then, in the haste of trying to shift into reverse, didn't actually shift into reverse and pulled forward a little bit further, and then she finally got it going, and then she didn't stop further back. So all sorts of problems there. The lap time overall reflects that. Just like Ben Malik in that 28 car, that is again one of the slower lap times that we've seen. So she'll be starting in the back just like Ben will. Laura in the number 5 for Wolkowitz Motorsports has 4 career Corvega Cup Series wins. The latest of those was the second Kansas date last season. That enters this weekend 12 points out of the top 16 at championship cutoff. So she needs some points and she needs some wins to potentially propel herself into that championship hunt later in the season. So far, the best finish this season, finished second at Talladega, which was the site of her first career win and only her second start. best start this season. She won the pole at Bristol earlier in the season, where she finished 26th after some issues there. Lap 1 is going to be a 28.5. Let's see how the pit entry for Laura is this time. Goes a little high and around she goes again. Yet another car to spin trying to get to pit road. This time a little more trouble there getting onto the pit and through the grass even. The 38.8 for lap 2 as she went for that spin and got back to the pit box. This team was another one that kind of used the fuel strategy here with the lesser fuel start out, had to fill the car up. And I gave her a 15.3 for the pit stop. Now we'll get up to speed for lap 3. That's what now? 4 drivers that have spun during their lap and not hit anything? Just like Ben Malik, she'll hit the apron in 3 and 4 and drift up the racetrack, so this is going to be a little bit of a slower third lap. Salvaged it a little bit, kept it under a minute, 55.73, and her total time is going to amount to 2 minutes and 3 seconds, which will put her 8th. So third slowest for Williams in the number 5. So she'll bring that car back to pit road. And here's a look at that pit entry. Yeah, just like Valerie Cabanilla just turned it in way too late. And in doing so, that just sent the car around. And then in trying to gather it back up, had a little bit of wheel spin in there, and that sent the car out into the grass. At speed. Yeah, and we've seen just how hard it is to get on and off of pit road here. It's really interesting. Next car on track is the number 18 of Blake Turner for Alexia Alejandra Racing. Blake in the Halloween-themed M&M's Toyota for this race. He got his first career win at Martinsville this season, or rather his second career win at Martinsville this season, his first coming at Talladega toward the end of last season. And one of those upset wins at a plate track that we've seen so many of in this league. Tell you what though, after that race at Talladega, they had really turned the corner in finishes. He had missed the playoffs last season, was back in the 20s and 30s in points most of the season, and then after that win, they've been rattling off top 10 after top 10, and this season they are second in the points heading into the Coke 600 weekend. So they have really turned a corner with this team. First lap, a 28.5 for Blake. Let's see how he gets on the pit road. One of those perfect pit entries. Let's see if he can get it woed up for the pit box though. Oh, into the wall, just like Brennan Wolkowitz almost did, but this time he does get a little piece of it. And backs it up past the pit box again. Trying to edge it forward, not quite enough, so they'll have to have another slow stop there. He got into the wall just like Ben Malik did, getting in his pit box earlier on, so not going to be a good stop for the 18. His second lap, despite all that, at 32.2. And we'll see where he ends up with lap 3. Good entry to turn 3-4 here. It's going to slide up the track though. Get a little loose there in the middle of the corner. And across the line for 1:04. So his time, total altogether, 2 minutes and 5 seconds. So that put him ninth. Which I believe is third slowest. Here's the pit entry once again. Yeah, I think he's going to drive through these pit boxes here, and like we mentioned earlier, the bumps there can kind of cause a little bit of a wheel hop situation, and this looks like this will happen trying to get into the pit box. Then slides it through, found reverse a little fast, a little bit quicker than Jacoby did, but then stopped short, and then tried to edge forward just a little bit at a time, just to not overshoot the pit box a second time. Unfortunately, it was not far enough into the box to be able to start service. Luckily for him, Ben Malik had a little bit more trouble during his pit stop, so he's not quite the slowest car. His first lap, the second lap kind of helped him with that. His pit entry, as far as getting on the pit road, is helpful as well. Next car on track is the 14 of Fred Martin. 52-year-old La Mesa, Texas native for Cabanilla Haas Racing. Scored 2 wins last season with Indy Racing, with a win at Las Vegas and then the first Talladega event. He has 3 career wins in the Corvega Cup Series, the Daytona 500 under his belt from the 2014 A season. And this is a team, you change teams here to try and get some better performance overall. Unfortunately, this 14 team has struggled most of the season. His best start came at Atlanta, but finished well outside of the top 30 with a wreck very early in the event. His best finish was a 5th at Bristol. He finished 17th at Martinsville, but his other finishes have been outside the top 20. He was 35th in points coming in. And again, he'll slide through the pit box. There's a little less trouble getting stopped there on the reverse cycle, though, so that's some good news. Fuel into the car, so he'll have a full tank starting out for the 3rd lap. Pretty decent in lap, though, getting 32-33. And other than the slide through the pit box, a pretty smooth return to the racetrack. I think if they can get their performance issues together, they can really kind of excel with this team. So far that it remains to be seen. 3rd lap, 58-38. So Fred's full time going to be 1:59.6, which would be good enough for 6th place of the cars that have run so far. So we're about halfway through. 24 drivers will take a lap time. And here's that entry to the pit box. Yeah, it seems like these guys, if they go through multiple pit boxes like that, it really gets the car out of shape and makes it hard to stop. Next we have the number 20 of Casey Blanford. Blanford in number 20 has a win last season at Pocono for his eligibility All-Star Race. Savannah, Georgia winner, or Savannah, Georgia native rather, has 2 career wins. His other came at Las Vegas 2 seasons ago. And comes into the All-Star break 11th in the points. Best finish this season so far is 3rd at Richmond. His best start is 2nd Martinsville, so short track has been his best performances so far this season. .28.7 on lap 1. Drifted up the track in turn 1 and 2, that time a little bit. Now for the pit entry. We saw his teammate Blake Turner have some issues getting on here, and he'll have some issues too. Spins, around he goes, able to gather it back up like Jay Fluke did on his spin, and now he's got to get it stopped for the pit box. Pretty perfect stop there, so that's going to help him out a little bit. The biggest thing with these guys spinning out is they got to gather it up quickly, kind of speed up a little bit, again get kind of stopped, because if you try and take it cautiously into the pit box, you're going to lose a lot of time doing that. It's down and away after 4 tires and a 15.2 second pit stop. And with the spin, that put his second lap at 36.7. An entry here at turn 3. He's going to keep it on the bottom, kind of drift up wide off the corner. And at the line, 55.4 for a lap, 3 lap time of 2 minutes and 9/10 of a second. So that'll put him 9th, or rather 7th of the cars that have gone so far. Not a bad there for them. Kind of mid-pack right now. Here's that entry. It's just like Valerie Cabanilla and Laurel Gold in the 5. They just turned it in way too late, getting on the pit road, and it seems to upset the car almost as much as turning it straight from the banking down to the apron did for Jay Fluke. And now for Blanford's teammate, Michelle Mosler, in the number 11 car. Now, Michelle is the Daytona 500 winner from this season. That gains her eligible for the race. That win at 500 broke a 38 race winless streak. And she has 3 career wins, all of those coming in the 2014 A season. Other than the Daytona 500, they've had a rough season, 25th in the points after the Atlanta race, including a 42nd place finish in the last 2 races, both at Kansas and at Talladega, but due to mechanical issues very early on. And hit the apron there in 3 and 4, and that will slow her first lap down just a bit, 28.6 for lap 1. And now for the pit lap. A little bit lower off of turn 2 there, but I shorten the distance here for the second lap a little bit. 4:11 team. Like her teammates, Casey Blanford and Blake Turner, a little cautious getting on the pit road. Can she stop it in the box? No, we'll overshoot the pit box. And just like Blake Turner pulls a little bit forward before, finally finding reverse, but is able to stop it in the box on the reverse. See, they will take fuel here, so it seems like a lot of these guys opted for the little amount of fuel to start out with and filling it up during the pit stop. I don't know how that strategy is working for some of these guys, but 13.8, that's the fastest pit stop we've seen so far in this qualifying session. And with that pit entry of 31.6, it'll be interesting to see just how much overshooting the pit box actually hinders this qualifying effort. She got the apron up there again in turn 3 and 4, so that's going to hurt this lap as well. 1 minute 1.5. So overall, all 3 laps a 2 minute 1 second time, and that'll put her in the 8th position, right there with teammate Casey Blanford in the 20. Yeah, I mean, this pit entry was just about perfect right there, getting onto the coming down from the transition to the banking to the apron. Just gets down here, and just like Casey Blanford and so many others, slides through the pit box with the cars going through the pit boxes there. It kind of just upsets the car a little bit too much. She just slide through the pit box. And like Blake Turner, rather than Casey Blanford, like Blake Turner slid through the box, kind of pulled forward a little bit more, and reverse it back in. But fortunately for her, was able to get it stopped in the box instead of having to pull forward more. Up next is Charlotte native Joseph Tanner in the number 3, his last win, coming at the 8-Bowl Super Speedway last season. He has 3 career wins. His first career win came at Daytona. His other win coming at Rimouski Super Speedway. So I think by far it's easy to say that Tanner is a restrictor plate pro, if you will. With all 3 of his wins coming from plate tracks in the series. His team has 7 points coming into this week, but just 4 points out of the top 16 for the championship hunt. For Sunday 25. This looks like a pretty good lap for him by lap 2 standards. It'll be interesting to see how lap 1 was one of the faster first laps we've seen, so he can get on and off the pit road clean. This is going to be a good lap. And he does get on the pit road clean, get it stopped in the pit box. That's been the trouble spot today. And he will. So they're going to go 4 tires here. They've already got the car full of fuel, so there won't be any fuel for this stop. Yeah, so they started at full tanks, so a little bit of a different strategy for them here. Down and away. By the way, lap 2, 31.7, that's one of the fastest second laps we've seen in this qualifying session. Michelle Mossler is one of the few drivers, in fact, the only driver that had that had a faster second lap. With that clean exit to pit road, this is going to be a fast lap 3. Here he comes to the line. Is it enough for the pole? Not quite. 55.632. And is second by less than 0.2 of a second. One minute 55.9 versus John Williams 1 minute 55.7. Good lap though right there. No issues. next is the number 4, the Philipp von Boris, 27-year-old from Zell, Germany, is the current season point leader, and he has put on a show this season. He has 2 wins, the only driver with multiple wins so far through 12 races. And not only is he the points leader, but he's hit 99 points ahead of Blake Turner, so almost a race and a half ahead of second place. He has 8 career wins, 2 of those coming this season. And his numbers this season are just impressive. 12 top 20s. In other words, he has not finished outside the top 20 in any race this season. 11 of those races have been inside the top 10, and 10 top 5s. His average finish leads all drivers this season at 4.3, and he has qualified on the pole twice this season at Las Vegas and at Martinsville. 8.7, he's going to take a little bit of a slower approach, kind of like Valerie Cavanilla did. Got on the pit road a lot better than his other 2 teammates there, Fred Martin and Cavanilla. And gets it stopped in the pit box with ease. Definitely took a cautious approach here, so this will be interesting to see if that actually helps his qualifying time at all. And a 14.8 on the pit stop, so a pretty good stop there for the 4 team, as has been the case most of the season. And takes the lower line through the 2. It's been kind of interesting. We've seen a mixed bag as far as whether this lower line on the 3rd lap has really been helpful for anybody. A lot of the guys that are up front right now took a little bit of a wider arc through 1 and 2 and down the batch, so it'll be interesting to see where lap 3 ends up for him. 55.4 puts him in the 5th position for von Boris. I really feel like he gave up a lot of time getting on the pit road, getting slowed to the pit box there. Because, he did everything perfectly. If he had been a little bit faster in doing it, might have had a shot at the pole. Up next we have Joe Reynolds in the 21 for the Wood Brothers entry, the Motor Ford. And what was supposed to be a partial schedule initially has turned into a full-time season for the 21. This is their first full-time season in the Corvega Cup Series for this team. And already showing results, one in race number 3, Las Vegas. And he has 8 career wins, 5 of which came last season. And also has a championship under his belt. And the 22 team was with Penske. This is a Penske affiliated car. Ooh, wow, hit the wall there off of turn 4. That's not going to be good for this effort. Yeah, like we've seen so many other drivers do, like Mary Capizzello did in that showdown qualifying. He hit the apron and drifted up the racetrack, but he's the first driver to hit the wall in doing so this qualifying session. Let's see how the entry to pit road is. Pretty smooth, gasses it up. Now can he get it stopped in time? He does. And a 32.9 for that second lap. And there are 4 tires here, again full of fuel already, so the fuel added under this stop. And he's down and away. See there, he kind of took more of a high line, kind of arced it down to the bottom here in turn 2. Looks like he's going to try and make up some time by taking the low line down the backstretch. And hit the apron again. Didn't slide up quite as far that time though, and this third lap will be a 55.127. So that'll give him a 1 minute 56.9. That will put him in the 4th position despite hitting the wall on that first lap, coming to the beginning of lap 2. It was a pretty good lap for him, I think, despite that. 4th fastest, not bad. Yeah, he hit that wall pretty good. He's gonna have a lot of damage to repair with the right side of that car. May even have to go to a backup car. We'll see what they decide to do. But it just goes to show you, just hitting that apron just gets that car out of shape so quickly. Next car on track is the number 85 Indy Racing entry for Joshua Wilkinson, who has 1 win on the season coming at Auto Club Speedway and 5 career wins. But the win at Auto Club ended a 66 race winless streak. Currently 5th in the points heading into this race. Dive Masters Cozumel is the sponsor on this car. A bit of interesting backstory. He went down to Cozumel and died in license. And that led to kind of a deal here for the All-Star Race. For them to be featured on the car. Pretty neat paint scheme here for this 85 car. Yeah, the design in that is actually based on the logo of Dive Masters logo, so pretty unique look to this team. 28.7 lap 1 for Wilkinson. Pretty good little second lap here. I think he might have a chance at the pole. All depends on that pit entry. That was a pretty good entry there. Let's see where he ends up. And kind of like Philip Von Boer, he's a little bit more conservative getting into the pit box just to make sure that he doesn't slide it through the box. So this will be a little bit of a slower pit cycle for them. On the way, they were full of fuel, so no fuel added there for them. That crew sends them out in 14.9 seconds, so that is what among some of the faster pit stops we've seen so far. Just like his teammate Nick Gilbeck earlier in the qualifying session, parked it way up by the wall coming out of pit road and then took the lower line through turn 2 and down the backstretch. Let's see how turn 3 and 4 go. Looks pretty good here. Coming down to the line. Will it be fast enough for the pole? Not quite. 54.982, but that slower time on pit road puts him 6th overall. Out of all the drivers that have gone so far in this session. And that's the best out of the 3 Indy racing entries that have gone so far. And up next is inaugural series champion Ben Smith in the number 31 Quicken Loans Caterpillar Chevrolet for Ben Smith Racing. And as we mentioned with John Williams' qualifying lap time, he is tied with Williams with 10 career wins. His 1 win this season ended a 48 race winless streak. with the win at Bristol earlier on this season. Finished in the top 17 in the last 7 races. And kind of interesting to note that he touched on that 48 race winless streak, because prior to that winless streak, he had a win each of the seasons that he has competed in up until last season. That was the first season he did not won a race, and finished outside the top 16 in points as well as a result. So, him getting a win this season, he'll be eligible for the championship later on, and on the hunt to be the first repeat champion. First lap a little slower, 28.9 compared to some of the other ones, but wow, what an aggressive entry to pit road. That thing got off the ground a little bit on the left front and stops it in the box. So we'll see how this turns out for him. 32.7 for lap 2. Here I'm revving up the engine, get ready for them to drop the jack. He's down and away. 14.8 on the pit stop. Pretty good out there on pit road again. Goes up high, final exit to pit road, and then takes the low line around two and down the back straight. Ready to arc it down into turn 3. So close to the apron, but doesn't hit it. And that's key. If you can get that close down to the apron, that's going to be a good time for him. 54.8 on that lap, and that will be third fastest for Ben Smith in the 31. Really good lap there, 1 minute 56. So about a second slower than John Williams, not quite. Pretty close. And here is Hunter Richardson, the number 41 Haas, Cabanel Haas Chevrolet, for his qualifying attempt. Hunter has 4 career Cup Series wins, one of those coming this season at Texas, and kind of the theme this season, he ended a 52 race winless streak. So I think if you're a driver in this series that's on a winless streak of about 30 or more races, I think you got a pretty good shot of ending that season. It feels like. It certainly seems that way. Richardson's had a pretty decent season outside of the one win. He's been in the top 10 in points every race so far. Got a pretty good season so far for this team. 28.3 for lap 1. One of the fastest lap 1s that we've seen this qualifying session so far. Just looking through some of the other lap times, I think that might actually be one of the fastest, if not fastest, first lap. On the pit road, late entry, but he makes it work. Can he get it stopped in the box? He's going to lock up the tires once, twice, and slides it through. But he gets it stopped in the box on the reverse, so that's going to help him a little bit. Four tires there, no fuel, so it looks like they were on the full fuel strategy there. You can see he'll take the low line through 2, it looks like. Trying to get back up to speed. Yeah, I think this outlap is going to be pretty decent here if he can get through 3 and 4 pretty good. Looks like he'll do that. Let's take a look at where he ends up. That is third lap 56.979. It is 7th fastest overall. 1 minute 57 lap time for the 41. Again, the 7th position. That is where he is currently slated for. And let's take a look at this pit entry here. He locked up the tires there a little bit, and I guess that just didn't slow him down just enough to get him stopped completely in that box. But notice he slowed down without running through too many pit boxes there, so that's a little bit of a different entry. You see a lot of drivers trying to take the pit entry straight on and have slid through. So that one's a little bit more angled approach. Still didn't quite work out for him. TJ Howard in the number 2, the next car to hit the racetrack. And, the most recent driver in the Corvega Cup Series to win back-to-back races. He had 3 wins last season, and this is probably one of the biggest comeback stories of the season last year, aside from Jay Fluke. He had the win at Atlanta where he was just outside the top 16. Going into that race, he was 20th in the points, won the race, and then finished well enough in the Rimouski Super Speedway race the following week to advance to the championship 16. Kind of meandered his way through all the carnage through the rest of the championship hunt, and ended up one of the championship 4 by winning at Grand Tour, and then won at Texas. Or rather, won at Texas and then won at Grand Tour the following week. The Texas win held him to the championship 4, and well, Grand Tour was just an added bonus. But ultimately finished second to Jay Fluke in the championship. Slides through the box. Was able to get it stopped the second time around. Yeah, and between that second career win at Atlanta, that was a 79 race winless streak for him. Between his first win back in the 2012 season, 5 career wins overall for this 2 teams. Pretty decent, despite sliding through the pit box. He had a pretty decent second lap there, 31.6, so that's one of the faster second laps that we've seen. Just like we've seen so many other drivers do, he hits the apron down there in the turn, slides it up, but doesn't hit the wall. His third lap will be a 57.843, and that will place him 9th overall with a 1 minute 57.7. We're down to 3 drivers here in the All-Star Qualifying format. As you see the replay here for TJ Howard. Yeah, you see he just slides through that pit box there, and then here on the racetrack he gets the apron, slides up, almost gets the wall coming off of turn 4. I think that's about as close as you could get to not hit. So we've got Matt Adams, Josh Snyder, and Lewis Black, the final 3 drivers to qualify here for the All-Star race. Matt Adams will be the first of those. 29-year-old Charleston has 2 wins last season, Darlington and New Hampshire. And is second on the career win list with 9. And 5 of his last 6 wins have been outside, or 5 of his last 6 races, rather, have been outside the top 30, so they've had some pretty bad luck here the last couple of weeks, but looking to turn that around here for the All-Star race and for the 600 here at Charlotte. Looks like he's going to be pretty good to do that here, 28.4 for lap 1. It's not the fastest first lap, but it's pretty far up there. And adding to the struggles, no wins so far this season for the 40 team. Good entry to pit road. See where this shakes out for pit stop here. Gets it in the box pretty easily. So another one of those drivers that had the full tank of fuel to start the qualifying run, so they won't have to take fuel during the stop, and that'll give him a 15.3 on the pit stop here. Let's see what kind of line he takes on the racetrack. Looks like he'll go up by the wall, try and build up some of that momentum before pulling down low on turn 2. And looks like he'll take a little bit of the longer route backstretch right up against the wall. He can get through 3 and 4 here pretty good. This is going to be a pretty decent lap for this team. Indeed it is. He's improving as he comes off turn 4. 55.266 for lap 3. And that will place him 3rd overall. 1 minute 56.3 for Matt Adams. Up next is Josh Snyder in the 22 for Penske Racing. The Cherry Point, North Carolina native has 1 win this season, coming at Kansas, our last point-paying race. And before that, he was already eligible for this race with 2 wins last season, both his first career win at Texas and then his second career win coming at Watkins Glen, the road course up north in New York State. Of course, this is the team that won the championship 2 seasons ago with Joe Reynolds in that 22 car with Josh Snyder. Kind of did a little bit of a ride swap. They were originally going to put Snyder in the 21, but they decided that with the new Wood Brothers Alliance, they would put Reynolds in the 21. Make him a full-time driver in that car. That all coming off of the announcement that Trent Clark would run the Corvega Series full-time. Had a pretty decent first lap there, 28.5, and just about got the wall on the turn 2 there. Let's see where he comes in on pit road. A little low entry there. Low but fast approach. Will he get it stopped in the box? He will. No trouble there. And you can see he has fuel going into the car, so that team decided to start with as little fuel as possible, get him through the first lap and a half and on the pit road. 15.3 for that pit stop there. That's going to be pretty decent for him. Not necessarily the fastest, but one of the better times there. And like Matt Adams, he'll take the outside to inside approach, go up turn 1 by the wall, and then come off turn 2 down low. Yeah, pretty much the same line as Matt Adams took there that last time by, so it'll be interesting to see. He clipped the apron right there. He's going to get up the racetrack, almost into the wall, but he keeps it off of there and gets a 55-second lap for lap 3. In 3rd place for the 22. I'd say that's a pretty good starting spot for him after that. Especially after almost hitting the wall here off of turn 2 on lap 1, and then again off of turn 4. That was close. I don't know. Hard to say from that angle, but man, he got awfully close to this wall coming off of turn 4. If he hit it, he just barely did. And last but certainly not least, Lewis Black in the number 78 Furniture Row Denver Mattress Chevrolet for Furniture Row Racing. It's going to be the final car by luck of the draw to make a qualifying attempt here for the All-Star race. And Lewis is in this race because he won 3 races ago at Richmond. And that was yet another in a long list of drivers ending winless streaks this season. His win at Richmond ended a 111 race winless streak going back to the 2013 A season at Talladega. And it was his 4th win overall in this series. A pretty decent first lap here. Going to be a looks like a 28.4 for lap 1. Now for the pit stop lap. Pretty high entry down here into turn 3. It's a little bit of a different strategy perhaps. Got the apron, nearly slides it around, but he saves it. Getting on the pit road, that might just be one of the better entrances I've seen today. 31.9 is by far the fastest pit entry. And he stopped it in the box perfectly. I don't know if he's going to be able to get the pole, but my goodness, that is going to be a close run right here if he can get out of this pit stop as quickly as he can. Straight on out, and 14.8 on the pit stop, one of the fastest pit stops today. All the way up by the wall. He actually might have hit it there. But this could be on track for the pole as it comes off of turn 2 and down the back straightaway. Through turn 3 and 4 and to the checkered flag. How close will it be? Down to the line, down to the wire, 54.935, and he does it. Pole for Lewis Black in the 78 with a 1 minute and 55 second time, and that is going to beat John Williams by 0.5 of a second. I have got to see this again. Just look at that pit entry. I mean, that thing is sideways. We've seen so many other drivers do that and lose it getting down there trying on the pit road. And somehow he makes it stick. And that led to the first sub 32 second entry to pit road out of anybody this afternoon. Look at that. I mean, that thing is sideways. I mean, you can almost see the right side of the car from the end of pit road camera there. So that concludes qualifying for the All-Star race here at Charlotte. All-Star race here tomorrow evening. The race itself starts at 9. That will be followed by the Corvega Showdown. Start us off. So here's the starting lineup. Lewis Black, John Williams on the front row. You'll notice 3 other drivers, 2 segment winners and fan vote winner from the Showdown will transfer in and make up the 27-car field for tomorrow night's race. And quite an interesting group there. You got Sidney Warner in 9th. Kirby Lumens, Philip Onbory's up there around 13th, 14th. And the guys that had issues getting on the pit road, Jay Fleet, Cavanilla, Laura, Blake Turner, Maria Chicovi, Dave Malik all start towards the back of the field for Saturday. Be sure to tune in, 9 p.m. Eastern. Well,